What's up guys, today's video is going to be our very first World Wrestling documentary. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment or subscribe to show your support to the channel. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So, today's episode will be about Dustin Runnels. Firstly, let's give you a bit of a backstory about him. Dustin Runnels, commonly known as Goldust, is the son of Hall of Famer and legend Dusty Rhodes, and is also the older brother of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Runnels was born in Dallas, Texas on April 11th, 1969. Runnels made his professional debut on the 13th of September 1988 as Dustin Rhodes, which was his father's in-ring name, defeating Bob Cook in a match for the Tampa Bay Championship Wrestling from Florida. Around the same time that he started wrestling in that company, he also started wrestling for a company his father had been in before. This company would be known as WCW. He would stay in WCW for only 1 year before deciding to leave and go elsewhere. After spending a year in Japan and Memphis, respectively, he finally joined the World Wrestling Federation, where he would yet again only stay for 1 year. However, he would finally be teaming up with his father in a match versus Ted DiBiase Sr. and Virgil, which they would go on to lose the match in the result, and this would be the reason for them leaving WWF immediately and returning back to WCW. By the way, WWF is later known as WWE. Runnels would stay in WCW from 1991 to 1995. Whilst in WCW, he would manage to win the United States Heavyweight Championship a total of 2 times. His last match with the company was on March 19th, 1995, after he would be fired for blading during a match. This was forbidden by WCW. This would lead to the debut of Goldust in WWF. He would be a villain nicknamed the Bizarre One because of his somewhat eerie, mysterious presentation. He would be seen as a sexually suggestive turned aggressive character, and he would often communicate by coming across flirting with his opponents and performing inappropriate mind games to anger, confuse or distract his opponent. This would most of the time be by groping or showing physical affection towards his opponents. Runnels would only take up this role to step out of his father's shadow, which would eventually become his downfall. In 1999, Runnels would return to WCW for a short stint of 2 years. He would start off as a strange character named Seven. This had some footage of Runnels in full makeup standing outside a child's bedroom window. The gimmick was reported to be based on a film called The Strangers from 1998. However, only a few months later the gimmick was dropped, as it could have been misinterpreted as a child abductor. This is where he would turn heel and begin using the name The American Nightmare. He would wrestle under this name for the rest of the time in WCW until he would work for Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, a promotion started by his father. Also, if you have noted, The American Nightmare, same name Cody Rhodes uses now, and that's where Cody got the blueprint for it. So from there, he would make his return to the now rebranded WWE at the 2002 Royal Rumble. After that, he would win the Hardcore Championship on 9 different occasions. This would eventually lead to him teaming with Booker T until Booker broke up the group, joining the NWO, who had rejected Goldust joining them alongside Booker. However, in a twist of events, Shawn Michaels kicked Booker T out of the group sparking a rivalry between the NWO and the team of Booker T and Goldust. Booker T and Goldust would go on to win the World Tag Team Championships before being forced to split up on the February 3rd, 2003 episode. And for the remainder of the year, Goldust would be made into a joke gimmick where he would stutter and have Tourette-like symptoms as a result of the tag team breaking up. This would eventually get him released from the company as they had worried about his addictions that were starting to get very obvious. Following Runnels' release from WWE, he would go back to the independent circuit and wrestle for companies such as TNA and CCW, where it would be obvious that he's having issues with his addiction, and this would be where he would create the gimmick of Black Cloud, also known as Black Rain, who was a more disturbing looking version of Goldust, might I add. However, he would make a few appearances during 2005 to 2006 for WWE before going back to the independent circuits again, where he would go back to TNA and Coastal Championship Wrestling, CCW. He would finally come back to WWE for a fourth time from 2008 till 2012. He would have many appearances between 2008 and 9, and he would be involved in the brand switches and NXT from 2009 to 2010. However, in 2011 to 12, he would only be a backstage producer and depart from WWE, returning to the independent circuits once again. Luckily for him though, he would have a fifth and final return to WWE from 2013 to 2019, where he'd finally be able to team up with his real-life brother Cody Rhodes, until in storyline, Cody Rhodes was fired for speaking out against Triple H. This would result in Goldust having a match on the 9th of September to get Cody rehired, but he would fail to win, resulting in Cody staying fired. Goldust and Cody Rhodes would return and crash Raw by attacking the Shield. This happened after Stephanie McMahon gave Dusty two choices of either getting knocked out by Big Show or mauled by the Shield, after he asked her to give his sons their jobs back, which ended in the Big Show giving Dusty a knockout punch. At Battlegrounds, Cody and Goldust won their jobs back when they defeated the then WWE Tag Team Champions Seth and Roman in the Shield in a non-title match. They would then capture the said championships on the 14th of October episode of Raw, which was Goldust's first WWE Championship in nearly 11 years. They would keep them titles until the Royal Rumble, where they lost it to the New Age Outlaws. Before they lost them, they had matches in Hell in a Cell, TLC and Survivor Series, where they had managed to keep the championships. Later on that night in the Royal Rumble, Goldust accidentally eliminated Cody Rhodes from the match, and after months of losing every match they fought in, Cody and Goldust would eventually break up in late June. Cody prompted Goldust to find a new partner to replace him. This is where Cody debuted a new character. That character was Stardust. They would once again win the Tag Championships at Night of Champions after a chain of wins and a heel turn, and managed to retain the championships at the next pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. But the pay-per-view after that, they would lose the championships to The Miz and Damien Sandow. On the Raw after the pay-per-view, they got a rematch, but they could not manage to win that match either. On the 16th of February 2015, Stardust and Goldust would eventually break up. Stardust would turn on Goldust by using his old finisher, the Crossroads, on Goldust, marking the end of the Gold and Stardust. This sparked a match at Fastlane, where the match had a called botch finish, which ruined a good story and match between the two superstars. In May, Goldust announced that he would undergo surgery to address a shoulder injury and that he would be out for 2 to 4 months. And he managed to do a few shows on NXT and everything whilst injured, but not really anything of point. But he would return at Survivor Series, competing in a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination tag match, but nothing else of notice from that year. Early 2016, on various episodes of SmackDown and Raw, Goldust would approach R-Truth and propose they form a tag team. R-Truth would reject this many times. However, later on, R-Truth would come round to the idea and attempt to apologise to Goldust for rejecting him and unite as a team. Originally, Goldust rejected R-Truth, but eventually he came round, and they're now known as the Golden Truth. They would have many funny segments during the era of 2016-17, however, would eventually break up in the latter of 2017 when Goldust stated that he was back in the director's chair and that the golden age is back, starting a feud between him and R-Truth. After a lackluster 2 years in WWE, he finally asked for his release, and it was granted. Perfectly set up for him, he would join a company created by his brother Cody Rhodes and his friends called AEW. This is where he still wrestles now and has had many good matches in AEW, and not to mention the match that he managed to have with Cody Rhodes, which would eventually be given the 5-star rating, which they always wanted to have. So this sums up the story of Goldust. A very strange career, but also one that's going to be in the memories forever, really, because he did the role so well. He made everyone love him as a character, but I don't think he ever could have got to the big stage because of that role. The role ruined everything he could have made, and I think if he had a better role, I think he could have been a main event style player, a bit like his brother is now, Cody Rhodes, and obviously his dad never got the push that he deserved, but that's how wrestling goes sometimes. But a sad career for a very, very good man. Let me know in the comments your opinion on this story, and how you feel about the Goldust character and his characters as a whole. Without further ado, that's it for today. Like I said at the start, please leave a like, subscribe, possibly share with your friends, just show some support to your channel. Without further ado, see ya.